Hey guys, it's Ihasnotomato here. Welcome back to Ihasnotomato Draws. And this week, I'm drawing something a little bit different. Although I feel like I start every week saying that. But no, for this one, it's quite different for me particularly because I'm actually drawing, instead of a video game character, or a TV show character, or anything like that, I'm actually drawing some fan art for OneyPlays, which is another YouTube channel. A very funny Let's Play channel, I guess you could say. Yeah, because like I was thinking, what am I going to draw this week? And I haven't really been playing any games. I've actually been working on my own stuff pretty hard, and I've kind of been sick, and all I've been really having time to do is watch YouTube. So, I was thinking, I'll draw some actual other YouTuber fan art. So, yeah, I'm enjoying OneyPlays. And Super Mega thrown in for good measure as well. I kind of wanted my picture to have a whole bunch of characters and stuff in it, because their characters are rather simplistic to draw, and if I was just to draw like one or two of them, or even three, of the three main people, Chris, Ding Dong, and Julian, then the picture wouldn't have taken very long at all. I also threw in Crash Bandicoot because why the fuck not, I feel like that their channel is kind of known for Crash Bandicoot. I mean, they're the ones who kind of originated the whole wow meme. But yeah. But there are a couple of different things we wanted to talk about today. I think, is this like the first time that I've drawn in like this kind of composition where I've on a vertical piece of paper? I don't actually know, but one of the things I'm going to talk about is a little interesting, I guess you could say, rule about kind of direction and stuff like that. It's not necessarily a rule, but sort of a guideline, I guess, for drawing. This is this sort of shaping the entire scene in a particular way. So what I've done is I've done a kind of triangular shape to a point, and the point being Chris's face right here. So if I ever zoom out again, you'll see that like all the characters and stuff kind of line up in a triangular shape up to that, and then from Crash it goes in a sort of triangular shape out from that at the top there. It's kind of hard to explain, but it is something that I learned, and it makes the whole like image kind of come together a lot better in compositionally wise, is a way of directing the eye, because that's like the sort of thing that a lot of artists try and do, is that they try and give it a direction for people to follow. Another thing you might notice is I keep changing things a lot. I'm just feeling this picture out. I didn't do any concept beforehand. I kind of I just want to draw it for fun. And I gotta say, these characters are a lot of fun to draw. Particularly like Ding Dong and stuff like that, because his character is like a very strange little thing. But I wanted to make him really expressive. So you might notice on the side there I have one of their posters that they made. And they're very cartoony, very expressionate. I kind of wanted to capture a bit of that, because I'm doing a couple things here. I'm trying to duplicate their style, Chris's style, Julian's style, and my own, and kind of make a new hybrid thing. My little motto, I guess you could say, for this drawing was to be very fast and loose. I'm trying to make things look very cartoony, very quick lines. Instead of like trying to fix up lines too much, I'll just take one line and that'll be it. So it all looks very nice and cartoony, which is not really a style that I've properly experimented with before. I've done some things like Adventure Time and Steven Universe fan art and stuff like that, which is like also incredibly fun to draw, and I really do like drawing that. And I wanted to try and kind of duplicate this like very fast and loose drawing. I'm a big fan of Chris's work, particularly because we get to see him now drawing Doodle Dudes on the Game Grumps channel, which is a lot of fun. And that Crash there is his Crash that he drew. So I wanted to kind of duplicate that, but he has this just particular way about it where he just kind of draws it. He doesn't concept it as much, I don't think. Like whenever I see him draw, he just kind of like makes it, and he just folds pieces in on itself and like put in all these extra lines, and it all just comes together as like a hilarious and fantastic piece. And you can tell that it's all just like one thing. He doesn't keep going over lines. Like if you actually do watch Doodle Doos, by the way, like this, all I'll be comparing it to is like, say, Ross, for instance. He's much more particular. He'll get all of his lines completely correct, where he has like a very specific vision in mind, so he'll keep redrawing lines over and over again to try and get that exact look. Well, Chris, on the other hand, he's much quicker, and he just draws right off the bat, because for his style, things don't have to look perfect. But because he carries that out throughout the whole thing, it all comes together really, really well. See, if you was like mix and match, it might not work as well, or probably take a lot more time. And I find that super interesting. It's always awesome to see other artists drawing. If you ever wondered like who some of my influences are, or people that I really look up to and respect, drawing wise, look no further than Chris O'Neill. You can see that I kind of struggling a bit here to figure out exactly what I wanted to do with Julian's legs, because like I hadn't concepted it too perfectly, and even though I did draw a whole bunch of shit down there, it's all kind of difficult to tell. By the way, if you see anything that looks a bit like odd or off by the end of the drawing, don't worry, I'll do a bit of photoshopping afterwards, which I will talk about my little things, because that's the thing, I always don't include it, but sometimes I do a little bit of extra photoshopping. Normally it's just to include my signature, which by the way, you should always do that as well if you don't want your work stolen. But I always include my signature, and I always I occasionally have to like fill with a couple extra things. One particular thing that I do for this drawing is I have a bit of trouble with the background. In terms I make the background in this, but like they just have those annoying white lines around them. If you use the paint bucket tool in this fucking program, they'll get these annoying white lines around them, and I hate it to death. And I much rather just like color it in normally, but for this one I decided, in order to kind of keep everything like easier to manage, what I do is, I mean, I'm getting a bit ahead of myself. Maybe I'll talk about it when I get there. But what I do is I color in the background white between all the characters, so it's easier for me to kind of color in like the shading and stuff. And also that's me trying to replicate Chris's style a bit, trying to get those like weird bends in the arms. I don't know how well it looked, but I just kind of wanted it to make it look, you know, a little bit, you know, reminiscent of that Fast and Loose and all this different lines and stuff that he throws in. He throws in a lot of like lines just to add in like creases and stuff like that, and I love it. So yeah, see what I did there was I made the background green so I could just see where I'm working, and then I filled in all of the white, the background area is white, so as to so I'm able to kind of just tell what's going on a bit easier. And as a result, so the background is actually filled in a solid white right now rather than being transparent. And when I eventually remove it, it leaves a little bit of white outline around the whole thing. Now I do know a way to get rid of that because it annoys me to death, but I can only do it in Photoshop, where basically you want to go into matting and just, I think it's called defringe, and it takes away like one little like, you know, like line of pixels around the whole thing, and it does wonders. Anyway, I'm getting a bit ahead of myself once again. I want to talk about something else, and that is shading on white and other things as well, which is essentially, when it comes down to shading, you have two methods of doing it. One is to make just a darker version of the color, which is something that I do most of the time, but I really should stray away from it because it makes things not as visually interesting as it could be, where I use like a dark a specific kind of set, I guess, from each one, from each color, and just kind of do the dark version of that. Or you find an alternative color that works in that position, which is a lot harder to do, but you know, it comes off as a lot more expressive. And I'll tell you one little shortcut for that. White is often, they often use blue, a very like that kind of, I guess, greyish blue color there that I'm using. You can see that it's working wonders. It's giving the impression of shading and shadows and stuff like that perfectly, while like but maintaining like a bit of an idea of color. Even though these characters are completely white, it kind of gives them this much more, I don't know, like it did 3D look, I guess. I don't know exactly how to explain it, but I think it just looks like way better. I think, and I really enjoyed doing it because it makes the whole picture come together like really nicely, even though the characters are, you know, by nature quite simplistic, you know. So yeah, that's a little one color that I know works really well is, you know, that kind of grey blue with white, as opposed to using just grey straight up, because grey will just make it look like not flat, but it won't pop as much. It won't, I guess, what am I trying to say? Like, it won't look as like cartoony, I guess. It won't pop as much. It won't be as like visually interesting, I guess I'll just say. So there's me removing the background again and just fixing up a couple bits and bobs. And that was so I can just see where I was working. And now I'm just throwing in a bit of a, you know, very vague kind of background. My screen just went black for a second there. I gotta bring it back. And yeah, so a couple things that I want to talk about changes wise. One of the things was like I drew this like at the end of my day, I guess you could say, of when I was kind of winding up. So a couple of things that I wanted to change, and that might be very noticeable right off the bat, is that I completely shifted Ding Dong's mouth a bit further in because he looked like a duck before and didn't quite represent it. I just kind of wanted him to look, I wanted his mouth to go way out there like in the other image, but it didn't really work out. So I moved his mouth in a bit. I also found some little extra spots here and there where like where the background wasn't properly colored in, where I had essentially, like, you know, little cased in areas and stuff like that. But yeah, I think that's generally it. So yeah, this is my first ever, I guess, fan art for another YouTuber. I might do more in the future. I don't know. It depends. I kind of don't know how to do fan art for some of the people that I watch, but you know what, I had a lot of fun doing this. I really enjoyed trying out a kind of different style, experimenting a bit. Like, things just kind of turned out really, really well. Really happy with how Ryan turned out. I don't know why. That kind of just fell together perfectly. And Julian and Ding Dong. Matt, I'm also pretty happy with, but I think he could go with a little bit more. But yeah. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this this little different episode. You know, once again, if you guys have any suggestions, let me know. And I have been Ihasnotomato, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.